Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about two measures of central tendency, and these different measures, they're not used as often, but it's still good to know about them. And so one is called the mode, and the other one is called the mid-range. So we're going to talk about the mode and the mid-range. So first, starting off with the mode. The mode is, I like to say most. Mode means most. It's the data value that occurs most often in a data set. So you're looking for the number of times it occurs, and you're looking for the one that occurs the most often. Sometimes you can have more than one value that occurs the most often, and so both of those values will be considered the mode. And if it's two of them, it's called bimodal. That's a bimodal set of data because it has two modes. Sometimes you can have no number that occurs the most. They all have the same number of times that they appear in the data set. In that case, there is no mode. Okay, so let's look at some examples. We're going to look at one example that has three different parts. So for this first example, example one, we want to find the mode of each data set. So we have three different data sets, and we're just basically looking to see which number appears the most. So if I look at this data set, it has 7, 2, 4, 7, 8, and 10. And as you notice, 7 appears the most because it appears twice. Everything else is only in that data set once. So for this first example, the mode would actually be equal to 7. Alrighty. So the mode would be 7 in part A. Now if you look at part B, you have 2, 1, 4, 5, and 3. They all appear once. So there is no number that appears the most. So in this case, you will say there is no mode. Alrighty. And then if you look at this third data set, we have 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6. If you notice, 3 appears twice, and so does 6. So we have two numbers that appears the most. So in this case, your mode will actually be equal to 3 and 6. So you actually have two modes, okay? So you have two modes. So this is how you will find the mode. It's just basically figuring out which number appears the most. All right, let's look at an example of finding the mode when your data is given in a frequency distribution. In example 2, we want to find the mode in this following data set that's given in this frequency distribution. So remember, for the frequency distribution, the first column is each data point. So the data points are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then the second column is how many times those data points appear in your data set. So since I'm looking for the mode, the one that appears the most, then I'm looking for the one with the highest frequency. So basically, you just look and figure out which of these numbers is the biggest, and it's the 7. So that means this data point appears the most, which is 4. So therefore, your mode for this one will be 4. So if I'm looking for the mode, I'm just looking for the number that appears the most, either by looking at the data set and count which one appears the most, or if you're looking at a frequency distribution, you just find the one that has the highest frequency. So that is mode, okay? Mode means most, and it is another measure of central tendency. And the last measure of central tendency that we're going to talk about is the mid-range. And the mid-range is found by adding the lowest and the highest data values together and then dividing the sum by 2. So the mid-range for the formula is basically equal to the lowest point, the lowest data point, plus the highest data point So you just take the lowest number, the smallest number, add them together, and then divide it by 2. So that is the formula for the mid-range. So for this last example, we want to find the mid-range of the following data set. So the data set has 190, 130, 70, and 100 in it. Okay, so to find the mid-range, remember we take the lowest data point, the smallest data point in this set, which is 30. You add that to the highest data point, which the biggest number in this set is 100, and then you divide it by 2. So that'll be 130 divided by 2, which is equal to 65. And so we would say the mid-range is 65. And so that's another way to choose one number to represent the whole data set. So you can say the numbers are roughly around 65 if you use the mid-range. So now when you're reading different studies, you can notice what measure they're using to represent that data set. Because usually when you read articles and reports, they don't report all of the results from the study. They just use one number to represent the results from the study. And the two most commonly used measures of central tendency are mean and median. So you will see those the most, okay? So if you have any questions whatsoever about the mode or the mid-range, which these are pretty simple, so I'm pretty sure you probably don't. But if you do, don't hesitate to reach out. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.